Hey, good morning, making moves. How you guys doing today? Unfortunately, today you guys are stuck with me. Vitali is out this week and on vacation with his family, earning some well-deserved R&R. So we're going to try to leave him alone and just do our thing today. So, folks, welcome to Making Moves. It is Tuesday at 10 and just Tim at 10. So hey guys, we want to talk about where we are in the year. I was sitting here this morning thinking about some things and kind of came up to me that man, it's almost June. Memorial Day just happened yesterday. That's usually kind of the kickoff to summer. Hope you guys had a good one. Hope you guys remembered the reason for the holiday. But really, folks, 2025 sneaking by. It's flying by us here, and I don't know where you are within your goals for the year, or how things are going for you. But let's talk about that a little bit because I know when I look at it, I'm like, man, if I didn't have my year planned out and I wasn't motivated or wasn't disciplined, I don't know where I'd be right now. So let's talk about it a little bit. Hey, what's going on, Dennis? Appreciate you being here. Hey, Kathy. Hope you're doing well as well. Sounds like Tim and Danielle are off having a good time with the family. So, hey, guys, real quick. It's almost June. Are you on track to replace your income this year, or are you just talking about it? Right. Um, and I don't mean to be harsh by saying that, but let's cut to the chase. Like I said, it's almost June. The year is almost halfway over. And for all the people who said 2025 is going to be the year I replace my income with real estate or I start making some serious moves in real estate, how's that going for you? To be completely honest, this year so far, Tim and I have not closed on any new deals, um, somewhat by design, to share and kind of what we're talking about here and not just pick on anybody individual. Tim and I had a goal of having a pretty big portfolio out of the Raleigh Durham area under contract. We did actually put it under contract. It turned out to be way heavier lift than we had anticipated, and at the end of the day, the seller just wasn't willing to come to the terms that we needed it in order to take on that level of risk and lift. So we dropped the contract. If you're looking at our goal, put that under contract by into Q2. We achieved it. Closed on it. We did not. So uh, as far as that goal goes, I would say that we missed part of it, but for very good reason. So let's talk about you guys for a second. You moved into 2025. You said, I'm going to go close on something. I'm going to go buy something. I'm going to do something in real estate. And maybe I want to replace my active income with it. So how's that going? How's it going for you? For all you folks who said, I'm going to analyze a certain number of deals, every week, are you doing it? If you've been researching multifamily but still haven't talked to a broker, underwriter, operator, are you still telling yourself it's just not the right time? Because I got to be honest, guys, this is a really good time to be buying. So if you're doing those things, if you told yourself I'm going to underwrite, I'm going to underwrite 10 deals a week, but you're only underwriting one, or even worse, you're not underwriting any. Or you told yourself you're going to call 3 brokers a day or something like that, but you're not calling any. Then just be honest with yourself. Are you building something or are you just fantasizing about it? Because replacing your income, leaving your W-2, doing deals in real estate, it's not a one-time leap, guys. It's not something you just go out there and you do right. You don't just drop everything and go buy a bunch of stuff. It's the result of consistent action. As Tim and I always say, like, it's great to read these books that we talked about. It's great to do these mentorship programs, but you got to take action. So, through consistent action, that's when you learn the mechanics of a deal. You commit to raising capital. You're surrounding yourself with people who constantly execute. That's one of the reasons we talk about mentorship programs or getting out there and doing networking events and then making a move, even if it's imperfect. Because let's go back to that RDU deal for a second. We were strongly trying to go after that deal. Even though it wasn't a perfect deal, even though it wasn't lining up exactly like we thought, we were like, hey, if we can pivot a little bit, if we can do this with the seller, then we'll still do the deal. Didn't work, but we consistently took action and tried to move forward with it. Just remember, guys, like multifamily is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to reclaim your time, your income, and your options. But the longer you stay on the sidelines, the further that finish line drifts, to be honest with you. I know a lot of folks that I took the jump into multifamily in 2019. I know a bunch of folks that took that jump with me around the same time. And a lot of them are still kind of sitting on the sidelines, still trying to find that first deal. And when I look back and I talk to them, it's a result of non-consistent actions, right? The reason they're not in their first deal is because they haven't stayed in it consistently. They'll do it for a little while. Life gets in the way. They focus on their job. They don't have a little success. So they kind of get unmotivated. And then they go back and, the job turns out to still not be fulfilling like they want it to be. And they get motivated to do it again. And that cycle repeats itself. So it's not consistent, right? So guys, let's talk about this for a second. Half the year is gone, but here's one way that you can still hit your real estate goals in 2025. Listen, the worst thing you can do at this point is say half the year is gone. I'll wait till 26. Don't do that, please. Start today is better than starting in January 26. Is it starting January 25? No, but you've still got 7 months, man, to do this thing. And you can do a lot in 7 months here. So 5 months gone, 7 to go. If you set real estate goals in January, whether that was buying your first duplex, investing in a syndication, or scaling your portfolio, let's take a look and check the scoreboard. You're not where you thought you'd be. That's fine. That means you still care. If you're here and you're thinking about it, you're having this conversation, then at least you still care. It's still something that's on your radar. So let's use that, right? If you were talking to me, like if you were in our Making Moves program and you were talking to me, I would say, hey, here's some things to do to make 2025 still count, right? You still got 7 months. Let's get honest about what you really want, right? What got you demotivated, from January through May? Replacing your income sounds good, but is that passive income, active cash flow, equity upside? Clarity drives urgency, right? And one of the things that you guys have heard Tim and I talk about is, hey, when we're doing a deal, we'll sit down and say, you want to get paid now or you want to get paid later? That's part of the clarity of the deal, right? I go into every year knowing what I'm looking for. I went, to be completely honest with you, I went into 2025 looking for more cash flow. And here's why. I spent like the last 4 years pushing cash flow off, looking for equity. So I've built a ton of equity for myself that I'm going to realize over the next 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And that's good. That's what I want. At my age, that's kind of what I'm looking for. But now that I've done that, I've built that foundation, that baseline. Think of it kind of like that 401k or that retirement account that's just sitting there waiting for you to retire. That's kind of what I've built. Now I'm looking for cash flow, right? I want to start replacing my income. I want to start replacing my wife's income. And to be fair, guys, I started doing that a couple of years ago, back in 2016. So I want to increase my cash flow. Still going after some equity, but it's more of a blend now. I was heavy equity before. Now I'm heavy cash flow. So getting that clarity heading into 2025 was a big deal for me. It's framed how I'm looking at deals, right? Now, first step's get honest with yourself about what you actually want. Second step that I would say is simplify your strategy. Are you chasing 10 different goals with 3% effort? Stop doing that, focus on one thing before you move on to the next one. Buying a deal, investing passively, finding a good mentor, or joining a mastermind, right? All of those things need to be done, but just do one at a time. Me personally, in that particular list of things, if I was looking for, let's say I'm looking for um, a deal I want to buy and operate, right? Not invest in passively, right? I want to find a deal that I want to buy and operate. Well, one of the first things I'm probably going to do is either join a mastermind or find a good mentor. One of those two. I like to say how do I get access to a bat phone, right? That the bat phone when you're calling up Batman, right? So how do I get access to a bat phone? Whose mentorship program, whose mastermind, whatever that fits my personality, fits my goals. How can I get into one of those? And I would do that before I actually bought my first deal that I want to operate, right? So the next thing I would then do is start to go network within that group and start to figure out who my potential partners are, right? If I'm a good, myself, I'm a good boots on the ground guy. I'm good at finding deals. I'm good at going after acquisitions. I can handle renovations. But, I like a guy that's good with finances. I like a guy that's good with networking and will push me to network more, but is not a natural networker themselves. Sounds like I'm describing to somebody, then that somebody is Vitali. He's good at those things. So we naturally make good partners in that way. So, when you get into those groups, start looking for that kind of thing, find that partner, go out and find the deal, right? That's kind of how I would do it. That's a simple strategy, right? For going out, achieving your goals. The next thing I would do is we're heading into the end of Q2. So I don't think it's likely that you're going to do step 2, getting in a mastermind, finding a good partner, networking on deals, things like that. I don't think you're probably going to go into that and then get a deal in Q3. Doesn't mean you can't do a deal in 2025. So I would set a realistic goal and say, I'm going to get a deal by Q4. I'm going to buy something by Q4, whether that's a duplex or a 30-unit apartment complex, whatever. I'm going to do that by Q4. And to do that, you got to underwrite, guys. We keep talking about this all the time. You got to underwrite. You will eventually get to a point where you can basically do it in your head or back of the napkin it, and you'll know whether you need to move forward on a deal or not, or even take the time to sit down and underwrite it. But you got to start underwriting. You got to create that baseline knowledge for yourself so that you can really start to accelerate, right? We talk about deal flow and momentum, right? Well, part of that momentum is getting really good at underwriting so that you don't have to sit down and detail underwrite everything you see. When you first start, it's going to be slow because of that right there. For you to know if something's even something you should look at, you're probably going to have to put a lot of effort into it. As you get more experience with underwriting, you'll start to pick up on some things that you can just go, that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to sit down and underwrite it, right? So for now, underwrite 3 to 5 properties a week. Talk to a sponsor, talk to a good mentor, look at syndication opportunities. And the next 90 days or so should really be about movement, not necessarily perfection, but movement, right? You're going to find that mentor. You're going to figure out if you want to be an active or a passive investor. And if you decide on active, you're going to go out and you're going to start underwriting deals. If you want to be a good operator, you got to know how to underwrite. Okay. And then here's the biggest thing. Remember why you started this in the first place. Constantly remind yourself of that, right? The goal can't just be about money, folks. I know we talk about equity and cash flow and things like this, but those things are just tools that allow us to do something bigger in our lives, right? So please don't make this about money. Don't make this about, I want 20,000 a month and stop right there. Let it be something bigger. Like I want it to be 20,000 a month so that I can remove my wife from her job, so I can leave my job, so I can spend more time with my 15-year-old daughter who's getting ready to graduate and go off to college, right? That's a bigger purpose than just cash, right? So It creates freedom, it creates security, it creates leverage for yourself. You don't have to hit a home run. You just need to start finding something, getting it working for you, and then you have it start compounding forward. Um, Something that I've heard that I've mentioned a few times, I haven't mentioned it in a while, is I kind of have what I call my deal stack, right? It's a spreadsheet where I basically every time I buy a deal, I will put it on my deal stack and it'll tell me how much equity I'm expecting to make over the next 3 to 5 years, how much cash flow, whether that's through acquisition fees or monthly management fees or monthly cash flow, just straight up cash flow of the property. I will put it in there. And what it shows me is anytime over a 3 to 5 year span, all my deals stacked up on top of each other, what they're going to produce for me. Right. And as that's the deals I've closed on. And then below it, I have the deals I'm considering or have under contract so that I can see what those deals are going to contribute to my deal stack. So when we start talking about having equity or cash flow, you can look at your deal stack and you can say, I'm heavy on equity, I'm a little light on cash flow. So maybe this next deal I go after needs to be heavy cash flow deal, right? So that is one thing I create for myself, and it contributes to this idea of compounding forward, right? Like you want to buy one deal, two deals, three deals, and you want those things to compound to help you reach your goals, right? Listen, guys, you can absolutely still hit your 2025 goals, but don't sit around and wait for the perfect time, because here's a little secret for you. There is no perfect time. I'll close out this section with one little thing. In 2021 and 2022, man, everybody was saying, I can't buy a deal because they're overpriced, right? There was a reason not to buy. Well, in 23, 24, people started talking about, man, interest rates. Interest rates are just going crazy. Can't make a deal work. I'm not buying a deal. I'm worried about interest rates. And for whatever reason, people thought 4% interest rates are sticking around forever. And when they went to 7, people freaked out. By the way, 7% is still not a bad interest rate. And then today, later 24 into 2025, it's tariffs, inflation, recession, you name it. There's always a reason to be scared to buy a deal. Don't be. Figure out your business plan, stick to the fundamentals, underwrite, understand the basics. And as long as they still work, even in today's environment, and you stress test them, do a deal. Because here's one thing. If you buy a deal and it works at 7% interest in today's insurance and today's inflationary market, well, 5 years from now, chances are that deal's still going to work for you, because I'd be willing to bet that our interest rates are lower in 5 years, certainly not worse. I could be wrong. I'll probably get hammered for that one. But that if I was making a bet, that's where I'd go. So now that being said, in my underwriting, am I betting that interest rates are going to get better? No. So that's why I say if it works today, it'll work tomorrow. Hey, just real quick. Yeah, man, Todd, I'm with you, man. We could talk about goals all the time, every time that we talk. And maybe we should. Maybe we should just say, hey, start off every conversation with, hey guys, how you doing on your goals, right? So it's not a bad idea. And Joe, I do agree, man. It is a grind. It is an absolute grind. And you just got to stay, constant and consistent, right? I tell people all the time, like, celebrate the wins. Try not to get too low on things, because it is a grind. It will wear on you if you let it. Guys, just one thing for you. You guys just kind of remember those 3 things you said you would do in January, but you haven't done yet. Like, I'm going to buy a deal. I'm going to analyze a property per week. I'm going to talk to a sponsor. Remember, those are the backbone. So get out there, do those things. Because here's one of the things that I know that I realized when I was in the corporate world. If you're looking to get out of kind of that day-to-day grind, one of the things somebody said to me one time is, hey, Tim, your paycheck is finite, but your portfolio doesn't have to be. And I didn't quite understand that at the moment. I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite getting it. But basically, what they're saying is, hey, you can work your ass off and you're still going to make the same amount of money in the corporate world for the most part. But you get out there and you put that same time and effort into your portfolio, buying real estate deals, creating that stack, compounding that effort. As it compounds due to your effort, um, your portfolio and what it produces will also do the same. So I want to give you guys like a little background real quick. Um, here's something that I want to share with you. Um, it doesn't have to be a home run deal, guys, because um, Tim and I last year we bought a number of different properties, and I'm going to give you two specific examples. We bought one property. It's like a 30. I forget how many units, but it's under 40 units, and that property spits off $7,000 a month in cash flow. Tim and I own it 50-50. So 7,000 divided by 2, that's my take every month from this property, right? So that's not too bad. That's a start. It's a really good start for a lot of folks. So, and then we have another property, right, that we purchased last year that spits off 6,000 a month for us. So we own it 50-50. So there's another 3,000. Now I'm at 6,500 a month, right? I hear a lot of people talk about if I could get to 10,000 a month in cash flow. Well, hey, 2 properties, I'm already 65% of the way there, right? Well, we're looking at one right now. Not sure if we're going to be able to get it. We're still negotiating. But if we buy that property, it is going to do, let me do the math real quick because I know the annual. It is going to do just over $11,000 a month. So I just told you we have 2 properties that got us to 6,500. If we get that one and it's doing 11,000 and we own it 50-50, we just hit that $10,000 magical number on 3 properties, right? They don't have to be 400 unit properties. None of these are. They're all under 40 units. And they don't have to be some crazy, crazy deal that you've spent forever trying to find, right? You don't have to stack 15 of these things together to get it done. That was one of the reasons I kind of got out of the single family space, was for me to create that kind of cash flow on single families. I needed like 12 to 15 of them, right? And I know somebody's going to hammer me on, yeah, but per door, that kind of thing. Yeah, but I'm still got to do 12 to 15 buying and closing transactions to make that happen. So it's one of the reasons I moved into multifamily. But guys, those are real examples. There's a very good chance that those 3 deals will spit off exactly those numbers for us, as long as we can close on that third one. So again, it doesn't have to be massive transactions, right? Tim and I kind of talk about the fact that we've done 30 plus transactions over the last 3 years. You don't have to do that number. You don't have to do that volume, right? It can be done on much less. So just keep that in mind. So, hey guys, listen. So with that in mind, on a June check-in, I just talked to you about one deal, what one deal could do for you in 2025, what 2 deals could do for you in 2025. By 2026, maybe you get that third one, you hit that elusive 10,000 a month. So just make sure that you've understanding this picture that I'm trying to paint for you, where one deal creates a ripple effect. And then, you could totally be hitting the lifestyle that you're looking for in the next 12 to 18 months, but you need to start now, right? By next June, you could be here, right? So guys, listen, here's how we're going to make the second half of 2025 count. All right. Even if the first half was a bust, even if you didn't get off and do the things that you wanted to do, maybe 2025 didn't go as the way you planned. Life got busy, work got in the way, like we talked about. The market shifted. You kept waiting for the right time to get serious about real estate. That's all good. It's June now. Don't worry about what's done. Let's focus on how to move forward. So here's the good news. None of that matters anymore. Like I just said, the second half of the year starts now. So there's more than enough time to get moving. So lock in on your first multifamily deal. Like we talked about, go find that mentor, figure out exactly what you're looking for, one step at a time. Join in a syndication or find a good, strong operating partner, right? Build on that cash flow, right? Use those deals, use that momentum to build on that cash flow. $500, $2,000 a month in cash flow. Compound it, right? One deal, two deals, three deals. Compound it so that as you head into 2026, you're not sitting at zero. You know, you're at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a month off these deals that you're buying. Put your put your personal capital in something other than the market, right? The market's a roller coaster right now. Let's go find a really good real estate deal that's going to like spit off that consistent cash flow. Let's go find it and get it, right? And then finally, stop talking about what you're going to do and just take steps, right? Consistent action. Real estate investing doesn't require perfect timing. It really just requires action and momentum, guys. And that momentum only happens when you start. So I'm encouraging, let's get things going this week, right? Start today. And then, here's just one thing that I would say, because I get a lot of people that come to me and they're kind of like beating themselves up over the last 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, right? Hey, let it go. Forget the self-judgment stuff, guys. Use the last 5 months as a lesson, not as a reprimand. And then just get going on what you said you were going to start it to do in January. Hey, June is better than January, right? You got 7 months left. That's more than enough time if you start moving now. So get out there, guys, and start making some moves. All right. Hey, we're coming up on the end of our time. I appreciate you guys out there. I appreciate Joe and Todd and Tommy and Dennis and Kathy, you guys like putting the comments in there. If you ever want to get more interactive, feel free to throw questions in there. I hope this helped somebody. I hope I motivated at least one person to kind of get up and get going. And then just a little last piece of motivation. I want to call out some folks in our Making Moves community that have done a really good job of getting out there and getting things going. So, hey, Todd, you're here. Good job. Todd Snelling's been out there making moves. Dennis Pulse and Anthony Peters, they've been out there really crushing it, man. Got a number of deals under their belts in 2024. They've kept that momentum going right into 2025. Joe Bisping, 3 deals in the last 12 months, I believe. Sean Fuller and David Moody. Haven't talked to Sean in a while, but I had talked to David a few months ago. Those guys are crushing it in the Gulf states and up in Alaska. Brandon Vergalito has always, man, he was doing stuff before Making Moves. I wish Making Moves could take credit for Brandon, but Brandon's been crushing things well before we came along. He's just continued that momentum. Josh Harms has always been a go-getter. He's very, very impressive guy. Then last but certainly not least, man, Marco De La Casas out of the Virginia area. Man, he's been hitting it too. Known Marco for about 3 or 4 years now. Started out with passive investing, moved into active stuff. He's been crushing it as well in the Virginia market. So all of those folks, guys, all they did is start with one deal, second deal, third deal, kept it going. So shout out to all those guys. Well done. And hey, let's check back in December and hopefully we'll add some more names to that list. So, hey guys, have a great week. Get out there, get some things going, and start making some moves. Talk to you next week.